Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
In financial news, U.S. stocks notched a second consecutive day of gains as retailer strength offset sagging energy stocks. The Dow Jones Industrial Average hung on to a waning afternoon rally to finish up 9.2 points, or 0.1%, at 10,415, while the S&P 500 index added 0.2% at 1,094, and the NASDAQ Composite gained 0.3% to 2,215. An investment strategist with Fogel Neal Partners, Ralph Fogel, said the big rally is still being digested. The market has come back to an area of support and is hanging around here, which is reasonably healthy after a rally like that one. Consumer discretionary stocks led the advances after retail giant Target gained 2.5% on a 14% increase in quarterly earnings and an improving credit card business. Women's apparel retailer Chico's FAS jumped 10% on second quarter profits that more than doubled, beating analyst expectations. In travel news, it seems President Obama isn't the only one who's nixed the notion of flaunting a bare chest this summer. In France, where Brigitte Bardot helped make topless sunbathing on Mediterranean beaches etiquette in the 1960s, two towns are the latest to outlaw unclad torsos, although fines of up to 38 euros apply only to those who refuse to get dressed after being approached by the police. Paris, where an artificial beach has graced the banks of the Seine River each summer since 2001, has banned topless sunbathers as well. And despite French women's reputation when it comes to nudity, a Los Angeles Times story cites a 2009 French poll in which 24% of women were perturbed by toplessness on beaches. On the other side of the Atlantic, meanwhile, a recent TripAdvisor poll of the U.S. readers showed nearly half would bear it all at the beach if given the opportunity. One place they won't be sporting or spotting any nudity, Asbury Park in New Jersey, where last month the city council voted against a proposal to allow topless sunbathers on a popular stretch of sand. In international news, Janardana Reddy insists he is not a king. No, no, he protested as a servant trotted across the courtyard to deliver a cup of cooled water. Men with machine guns stood outside. An architect waited to discuss a new mansion, while another man hovered nearby, sitting in the grass. Mr. Reddy said he's the state minister of health, as the man in the grass stood up and made a bow and hurried away. Mr. Reddy may not be a king, but he does represent a new phenomenon in the political economy of India. He and his brothers are the country's most powerful mining bosses at a time when illegal mining has become a national scandal amid accusations that billions of dollars of publicly owned materials have been stolen, often by people holding public office. For decades, moneyed interests have bankrolled India's political parties, but nouveau mining magnates like Reddy Brothers have conflated money and politics in far more naked fashion, as the thirst for iron ore in India, and more so in China, has created huge fortunes. Mining scandals have emerged in at least 5 Indian states, with more than 20,000 complaints of illegal mining filed nationally in the past 3 months. Politicians in several states are accused of enriching themselves or their friends, including a former chief minister who is charged with extorting huge bribes in exchange for granting mining leases.
Hi, I'm Chef Tony, and now there's a knife so sharp you can cut a pineapple in midair. It's the Miracle Blade 3 Perfection Series. This is my all-purpose slicer, the ultimate in slicing knives. You'll also get rock and chop, rips through ribs, plus you'll receive my fillet and boning knife. Fillet fish right down to the skin. And my chop and scoop. Chop parsley and fresh herbs in seconds. Watch, flex, and scoop right to your favorite recipe. And you get my paring knife. Curved to peel fruits and veggies. I'll also send you 4 steak knives. Call now and you'll get my Perfection shears and a second Miracle Blade slicer absolutely free.
But wait, we'll send you a second complete set of knives free. Just imagine, that's now nearly $500 worth of knives for just one payment of only $39.95. And if you don't think the Miracle Blades are the best knives you've ever used, just return them for a full refund. So call now.
In entertainment news, Forbes has once again taken time from covering entrepreneurs who work with short-term CDs and gold-backed bonds to cover those who work with 12-track CDs and gold teeth. And again, Jay-Z has topped the Business Magazine's annual list of highest-earning hip-hop stars, raking in an impressive $63 million over the past year. That's over twice as much as his nearest competition, Diddy, and $28 million more than he made last year. Kanye West experienced one of the biggest drops, going from 3rd place in 2009 all the way down to 10th, right behind Pharrell. Kanye's drop could be a result of the VMA backlash and his subsequent laying low, but with a new album coming up, it's hard to imagine that his estimated $12 million won't increase soon. In tech news, Facebook announced a new Places product that will let users check in from a mobile device, see who is around them, and let friends or the public know where they are and find interesting new places. The announcement extends yet again the reach of the immensely popular social network in hopes that the new service will convince its 500 million users to feed more information as they move around the physical world. The product is not unlike the popular Foursquare location-based service and lets you check in at a place and send a notification to your friends who are nearby. CEO Mark Zuckerberg said Places has been in testing for a few months, and it will be available to U.S. Facebook users starting soon. Mark Zuckerberg said he knew the product was ready when he was showing it off to his girlfriend at a restaurant in a town that they didn't usually go to. She noticed that some friends were next door at another restaurant and suggested that they go say hello. Zuckerberg said it was when that moment happened that we knew we were ready to go. The feature works through a mobile web app or browser where a user wanting to check in can search for a place nearby and add a place to check into. A user can then write about what they are doing, who they are doing it with, what they think about the place, and upload a photo. In health news, with his head bowed and a barely detectable quiver in his voice, the baseball player known as the Iron Horse devastated the crowd at Yankee Stadium, not by hitting a home run, but by announcing that he was dying. It was July 4th, 1939, and Lou Gehrig, a first baseman for the New York Yankees, had reached the end of a storied career. Mr. Gehrig said, "Fans, for the past 2 weeks, you've been reading about a bad break I got. Yet today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth." Gehrig's words were chilling, considering his diagnosis. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, is a rare, incurable neurodegenerative disease, eventually named after him, that first manifests as muscle weakness and quickly descends to paralysis, an inability to breathe, and death. More than 70 years after his speech, a new small study at the Journal of Neuropathology and Experimental Neurology may have unlocked a tantalizing clue about Gehrig's illness, one that could be connected to his history of concussions. Dr. Ann McKee, Associate Professor of Neurology and Pathology at the Boston University School of Medicine, said he did have 3 or 4 major concussions that landed him in the hospital. It is interesting to speculate that they may have contributed to his ALS. McKee, along with colleagues at the Boston University School of Medicine, discovered an abnormal protein in the brain and spinal cord of 2 former professional football players and a former boxer. All of them had a history of repeated head trauma. Dr. McKee said, "When we looked at these 3 individuals, they had this hideous abnormal protein called TDP43, large amounts in the spinal cord and brain. TDP43 is associated with a handful of motor neuron diseases, including ALS. It is found in the nucleus of cells in the nervous system." McKee said that among the brain she examined, TDP43 had leaked out of the nucleus, infiltrating the brain and spinal cord. It is an intriguing possibility and at the same time a huge motor neuron disease. Still, study authors were intrigued by the possibility of a common thread between the 3 athletes' brains, motor neuron disease symptoms they exhibited before dying, and Gehrig's own motor neuron disease. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
The makeup in today's program is provided by MAC Cosmetics.